You ever have one of those days when you wake up, look out your window, and realize your life is about to change forever? Yeah, that happened. I stood there, coffee shaking in my hand, while an excavator started tearing up the ground right where my great-grandfather's orchard used to be, my land. Or at least it used to be until the HOA decided it belonged to them. 96 new houses, concrete foundations going down like gravestones. All because some clipboard-wielding tyrant and her board figured I was too broke, too tired, too stubborn to fight back. They'd spent 3 years burying me in fines, rejecting every permit, writing me off as just another obstacle, never realizing I was just waiting for the right moment. It was a cold Tuesday in January, barely after sunrise, when I heard it, that sharp metallic clang, like something waking up underground. I watched Kong, the excavator operator, freeze, then signal to Ellie Walker, the HOA president, master of fake smiles, queen of the clipboards. She hustled over, made a face, then snapped her fingers, and they covered the whole thing with a blue tarp like they'd just discovered a body. I didn't know it yet, but that sound was going to haunt Ellie for months, long after her neat little project had blown up in her face. But let me back up a sec. March 2022. That's when the game started. Ellie showed up at my front door waving her folder like a badge, pointing at my old Honda in the driveway. "Jackson, you know this neighborhood has standards," she said, teeth shining, but her eyes cold as river stones. "That car is dragging down everyone's property values." I looked at her, looked at my rust-free, perfectly good Civic, and realized right then, this lady saw herself as judge, jury, and executioner. From there, it just kept escalating. She'd measure my grass with a ruler, snap photos of every chipped fence board, every weed, every Amazon box that lingered longer than 24 hours. The violation letters started stacking up, $50 a pop, then 100, then more. When my mom had her stroke and needed a wheelchair ramp, Ellie denied the permit with some nonsense about aesthetics. My own mother, white-knuckling the rail every single day, nearly fell twice while Ellie sat on her committee making up new reasons to say no. That's when I realized this wasn't about neighborhood rules, it was about breaking people. Then a storm hits, blows half my roof into the neighbor's yard, rain leaking through the ceiling, photos ruined, mold growing like it owned the place. Ellie drags her feet for 6 months on my repair permit, demanding soil studies and mandatory site visits, and every bureaucratic excuse she can dream up. I call her out at the community meeting and she looks me dead in the eye. "Maybe this isn't the right place for you, Jackson. Maybe you should think about moving." Like I'm just some squatter on my own land. But here's the thing about bullies. They always overplay their hand. They get cocky. That same week, a delivery truck's dash cam caught the excavation accident on video, clear as day, with GPS and timestamp and audio of Ellie telling the crew to handle it internally. I made 3 backups. Sometimes the evidence you need just falls in your lap. So, I call up Linda Rodriguez, a lawyer who grew up right here, who, it turns out, has her own grudge against Ellie. She'd watched Ellie try to force her family out years ago with the same playbook. Linda lays it out. You can stop them now and file an emergency injunction, or you can wait, document every illegal shovel of dirt, and sue for triple damages after they finish. Let them spend millions. They'll owe you 3 times that in court. Her plan is ruthless, patient, and it's exactly the kind of long game Ellie never saw coming. We send a vague, legal-sounding notice to the board and the city, just enough to preserve my rights and warn them, but not enough to actually stop them. Meanwhile, I documented everything. Linda smiled when the certified mail receipts came back. "Jackson, if they spend $3 million, they'll owe you 9. She told me why she cared. Ellie had nearly ruined her family, and now she wanted justice. That's when David Mitchell reached out, construction supervisor for the HOA, but also Ellie's nephew. He picked a quiet cafe and confessed, shaking, that he'd sunk his life savings into one of these houses. Ellie had promised him a sweetheart deal, but buried in the fine print was a clause voiding everything if there were any title disputes. And here's the kicker. Ellie had mortgaged her own house, her family's money, everyone's trust, to fund this whole mess. No real insurance, just a bank running on faith and her connections. David handed me a contract, eyes red, voice cracking. "Jackson, I need you to promise, when this is over, help me get my money back. It's not just the cash. It's about doing what's right, even if it means testifying against my own family. He started sending me updates from inside. Ellie in panic mode, walking the boundaries with surveyors, looking for legal loopholes, trying to dig up dirt on me. I couldn't sleep. What if she found something? I spent hours with a halogen lamp, going over every deed, every survey, every note my dad ever left. My father, God rest him, had marked the corners with living boundaries, a massive pine tree, concrete nub at the roots, all matched to a hand-drawn symbol on a 1975 survey. Smart man. Living boundaries can't be moved without someone noticing. All that patience paid off when David texted one night. Emergency board meeting, Ellie's in meltdown. The board was getting nervous, vendors weren't getting paid, contractors threatening to walk. And still, families kept moving in, like the Johnsons, who'd saved for years, little Emily Johnson planting purple lavender in her new garden, a gift from her grandmother. If it grows, it means this house is built on honesty, she said, eyes shining. That kid didn't know she was standing on a lie. Ellie, meanwhile, was selling her heart out, zero title issues. I stake my reputation, she told buyers. David dug up the title insurance docs. If the dispute went public, the coverage could evaporate. Families like the Johnsons would be out in the cold. It hit me hardest the morning I found tire tracks straight through Emily's garden, her lavender flattened, her hope crushed. She stood there in pajamas, clutching the broken plant, whispering that her grandma's gift knew when a place wasn't right. I could have stopped it all right then with a court order, but that would have ruined dozens of families, left kids homeless. So I waited, even as it ate at me. But the wheels of justice finally started turning. We filed a lease pendants, legal notice that stopped the project cold. Contractors filed liens, bank froze the money, and a sheriff slapped stop work orders on the gate. Ellie tried to spin, but phones were out. Neighbors were filming. Word spread. 96 houses, millions spent, all on land that wasn't theirs. In court, Judge Wilson didn't suffer fools. Ellie's lawyers rattled off their arguments about adverse possession, but Linda cut them down with tax records showing Ellie herself had claimed boundary uncertainty for years to dodge taxes. David, torn up but determined, testified. His own aunt had defrauded him, the board, and every family in the place. You could see the truth land in the room when Linda made Ellie answer 3 questions. Did you know Jackson owned the land? Did you stop building when you found out? Did you speed up construction to make it harder to challenge? Yes, no, yes. Silence. Then, Ellie broke down. Tears, excuses, begging the judge to understand she was saving the neighborhood. Judge Wilson just nodded and read her ruling. You trespassed, knowingly and willfully. You owe $7.2 million in damages, payable in 90 days, or face criminal charges. But I won't order demolition. These families acted in good faith. We're going to make it right, not just legal. Ellie slunk out the back, reporters shouting. What do you say to the families who trusted you? Her house went up for sale within 2 days, a motivated seller. All right. David became interim HOA manager. We sat down with every family, worked out land sales at cost, set up a fund to help people who'd lost their shirts on deposits and closing costs. No one lost their home. The Johnsons got to keep theirs, and little Emily replanted her lavender in a new community garden on Lot 97, right where my dad's marker still stands, roots deep, boundaries true. Neighbors came together, old-timers, new arrivals, everyone pitching in to turn that battered patch of earth into a place where promises meant something again. Emily told me, Grandma said storms make strong roots. She's right. You can rebuild, but only if you face the truth, own your mistakes, and help your neighbors do the same. 6 weeks later, I saw Ellie packing up the old HOA office, moving slow, shoulders hunched, setting a family photo face down in the box. For a second, I thought about waving. But sometimes, you have to let some endings speak for themselves. Standing in the garden, watching Emily's lavender bloom, I realized justice doesn't always look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like a little girl with dirt under her fingernails and hope growing where lies used to live. So, tell me, what would you have done? When it's your land, your legacy, and your neighbor's homes on the line, is revenge enough? Or is real justice about rebuilding trust? Drop a comment below. Let's hear where you stand.